Hello, everybody, man. This is Gilbert Chavez once again with Streetlow Magazine. This is our third podcast. I know we're counting them as we're going, right? We're not going too fast. But today we have a special guest by the name of Jesus Zepeda, which was one of our very first friends. He was a homie of ours, but at the same time, he had a vision that we had when we were first starting the magazine. And I could consider him like basically one of the first photographers that we had with us running around. And he was part of Impala Car Club at the time. And let me have him introduce himself. Right, Jesus.
Right,
yeah.
You already introduced me.
No. Say, Jesus.
I am Jesus.
I'm an alcoholic. Chucky. And then we got Teleku again. Right. Once again, he doesn't want to leave the room. He just keeps staying here. We close the doors and we open it, and he's still sitting there. He doesn't want to go anywhere.
I saw the sleeping bag right there. I'm the mosca that doesn't go away.
Yeah, the sleeping bag, all the food in the back. But no, today we're going to talk about. We've talked about how we kind of started. There's still a lot that we actually did when we were first beginning the magazine, but I brought Jesus along because Jesus was one of our first, one of the guys that hung out with us in the beginning, and not only that, hung out with us because we kind of met at events with. He was with Impalas Car Club, I was with the Duke's Car Club at the time, and these clubs would always hang out together to do events, So slowly we kind of introduced ourselves as we went along, and it was kind of like putting a magazine together. At the time, the magazine wasn't put together, but the vision of it, putting it together, was there. And he ran around with us, passing out flyers down.
We're like door-to-door salesmen.
Right. Passing out flyers. At the time, we had created this flyer, and it was called Streetwise Publication. Remember, I was like trying to create something different besides the actual magazine itself. But we went out, place to place doing things and stuff like that, kind of like cruising, hitting up body shops, any type of shop, trying to recreate and rebuild an actual publication out of San Jose. That was our goal, to create something out of San Jose, because as we all know, the other publication that everybody calls it a Bible at the time was actually created out of San Jose by Sonny Madrid, our late Sonny Madrid. And let me also say R.I.P. to Mike Pickle, man. Mike Pickle was a great artist. He was also in the Dukes back in the days, but he had a vision. And I'm into bombs, into old school bombs. I really love bombs, man, and I have a passion for them. And when I used to see his artwork, and still to this day I still see his artwork, he was drawing for the future, man, because the artwork he has, I have one on my wall. I don't know if you can kind of we'll put a picture up, but I have an actual a poster that says on the license plate, it says Killer. It has a 48 and I want to say a 49, 48 and a 49 bomb with the city in the back. Well, anyways, what was cool about these posters I used to see, it had everything on them, from the wraparounds to the bridges and I was like, wow, man, this is cool. This is in 79. And then now we're in 2024, and they're being dressed up like this. So the vision was to keep them original, low and slow. And that was the good thing, that we did. But back to Jesus. I know he's a little camera shy, but you get it, man.
Well,
but tell me something about your vision of when we first started. I know it was exciting for us because we were running around with cameras, and you're one of the only ones I saw running around with a camera back in the days.
Well, on that, R.I.P. to Chuy Martinez.
Right.
He was a big part of this too,
right. Yeah.
He
Duke's Car Club for sure.
Connected us, and
right.
There was a lot of people along. Man, we're getting old, aren't we? Now that I think about it.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I'm getting younger. I start counting backwards, so I'm like 48 right now. So next year I'll be 47, and I'm gonna start counting down.
That's the same age I used, too, 48. Yeah.
But no. But yeah, Chuy was the president of Duke's Car Club. He was a close friend of mine as well. Loved by a lot of us. He passed away in an early age as well. like a lot of good people do. But yeah, because when I joined the car club, I was 19 years old when I joined the car club. And at the time, they didn't really want to accept me because there was a certain age that they wanted for me to be in the club. But because I was going to school at the time, he was like, oh, man, if you're in school, man, go ahead. We'll pick you up. And at the time, I was building a coupe, a little 50 coupe that you got to see and ride around with us, and like I said, we had a lot of fun because we weren't only putting a magazine together, but we were actually living that lifestyle, putting it together. And I think that's what gave us the passion to continue and to push and push. And like I say, to this day, lowriding to me is it's my lifestyle. It's my life too. And then I know it's yours too because you have a car yourself and you've been around forever too. Shit,
I know it's funny, like, when family says, oh, when I was young, they're, oh, you're going to outgrow that.
Right? No. You're just going to grow with me with it.
I'm growing old with it,
Right. No, that's the cool thing about it, man. Like I said, we shared a lot of moments, man. A lot of
good times.
A lot of good times. A lot of real good times.
A lot of laughs.
Yeah, we were just talking about, about my lady, my wife at the time. I don't want to say my lady. She's gone, man. I mean, my wife, Sarah Chavez, she, before I had even met her, Jesus was around. And because we were talking about it right now, I was like, oh, yeah, my wife. He goes, you didn't have a wife? We were running around with you didn't have a wife. We were running around doing things. I'm going, shit, you're right. So, yeah, Susan was around way before that. You met Little George, and Little George was out there running around, but I was the one running around with a camera myself. Shoot, sorry guys. I was going around running around by myself, and Jesus. We're all running around with cameras, taking photo shoots and taking pictures and going to events, making these little events look bigger than they were because there was really no social media at the time. We were social media for the streets at the time, but they didn't even yet because we were still trying to create it. And like I was telling them earlier too, I was kind of embarrassed in the beginning because I felt shy. It was like kind of like how you're feeling.
Well, yeah, I'm feeling shy, and you're telling me that, and it was like, oh, are you serious? I'm out there all proud of this, and you're all like, you're shy, and I'm going out there talking to everybody, telling, hey, come over here. This is going to be a good thing happening.
Well, it's because when you're doing something in the beginning and nobody believes you. It's like somebody, I'm going to sing. I'm going to be a singer now. I'm going to start singing. Whatever. And then like 2-3 years later, wow, this guy's made it big. Now he's on television doing his thing. It's always, you got to have that heart to do what you want to do and just go after it, and do it. But in this case, I mean, shit, we just lowriding, man. This is something that, I think has always been fun for us and fun for, to do something you love to do and hopefully one day make money from it, which was still a battle for us in the beginning, like we had talked earlier, it took a lot of money and a lot of time from me, but I kept dedicating myself to it till to this day, even with the show we're going to be having on October 27th. This is the date. We're at October 27th in San Jose at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds. We're having a show at the fairgrounds. October 27th. We're not changing the date. That's the solid date. So, but even though it takes a lot of money to put these things together, man. But going back to the beginning, our humble beginnings, man. We ran around different places, even cruises, man. I got old pictures of us over there on San Antonio. Remember that time?
Yeah.
We're all lined up. Dukes and Impalas were all lined up. We were taking pictures.
It's funny. I was just thinking about that
right?
too. Like,
we're on the street. We're like, oh shit, we're gonna get the baddest pictures, and just imagining trying to get these shots. And like again, no social media.
What was crazy about it? I've been thinking about that. You'd be on one end of town,
right?
And then I'd be on one end, the other end of town with the club,
right.
And then we'd have no cell phone to be like, hey, I'm over here. Oh, come over here.
We just meet up. You know, that was it. Hey, we'd have to plan everything in the morning just to see what was going on. But those are cool days, man. And like I said, I was always happy to have you around because you're a cool ass cat, man. You're a good person. You have a good heart. I know people have taken advantage of you in certain certain things, with certain, and to me, it's kind of a shame because when I see people taking advantage of other people, I that's what makes me walk away from those people, and I don't know if you want to talk about that, but to me, like I said, when we first started the magazine, our vision was to create a magazine for lowriding for everybody, for bombs, for Impalas, for Regals, Cutlasses, Cadillacs. But you had a vision, and you were Impala's car club at the time, and your vision was to create a magazine for Impalas, and we had that conversation like if it was yesterday. I could still hear you. I want to create a magazine, kind of like how Camaro makes their magazine or how VW makes a magazine, but I want it to be an Impala magazine with just Impalas. Even though if I go to events, it's just going to be Impalas. And I said, that's a good idea. And then somebody else took it.
Well, it was kind of a group thought out thing,
Right.
I really don't want to get into that because, to be honest, I was just a little kid.
We're all kids.
Yeah, but where was I going to get money to do something like that?
Right.
All of us, we were just doing other things, and it just.
But I just want to make it for the record. I mean, the idea was yours. In reality, I know you want to call it a group thing, but like I said, you were around us, an actual magazine that was being built. You were around all of us, so I know we didn't have the money. We were just pushing and pushing. Hopefully, we were knocking down on some doors, and hopefully they would give us some of the money to create that first issue. But to me, it was like, that's why I wanted to get you on here, because I want to give you the credit, because you're a pioneer too, believe it or not. They could say what they want to say, but it was a vision that you had. Okay, you didn't have the money for it, but the vision was there.
And was your spark.
It was a spark that you put out there. And, not taking away nothing from the club or the group you talked with at the time, but, I mean, between you and me, we had deep talks about that. And I even told her, if you need help, I'd help you out. I mean, however we need to do it. But, I know you're young. We're all young, and our focus is somewhere else. My focus, because, I didn't have a job. I was broke. I had unemployment, so I had to run and push what I wanted to do and hopefully create this into a business, because it's hard. It's a really hard business,
So so what got you into the whole lowriding and photography?
Yeah.
What started you doing that?
My family, my dad, my sisters, being a kid, I was the youngest, and then, I had older brothers and sisters. They were way older than me, and I would be going with them everywhere. I remember seeing Boulevard Nights, going seeing that at the movies. I remember
the drive-ins.
Yeah, no, it was at a Milpitas movie theater. And it's crazy because people think, when you see a little kid, they'll forget. If a kid, if something sparks
your interest,
it's gonna be burned in your head forever.
Right.
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
like we were talking about Mike Pickle, all his wheels. Like my car, I run Kragers, and a lot of his his
pictures,
drawings. He had Astro Supremes and stuff like that. And I always liked those wheels, and just little things. When I was a little kid, I remember seeing stuff like that. Like when I was young, hanging out with my brothers and sisters. I was a little kid. They were in high school. I remember going to San Jose High when they would have the car shows there, and then being passed along to my brother, and then going home on a bicycle on the handlebars. Just being with them and seeing them. And when they got older and they got cars, cruising around with them, and.
Well, you had old pictures of them too.
Yeah.
I remember you showing me pictures.
I wish I would have brought them. I had some stuff I wanted to bring, but I totally forgot.
Original tiempo pasados, huh?
Yeah. No, he did, because I remember him. Like, look, I do all this. I remember you showing me all that stuff.
That stuff got me really into it, and later on I got into taking photos. My dad always had a camera. My sister always took photos, and I would get hand-me-down cameras. And I started out, like when I was in school, a lot of graffiti. I used to hang out with a lot of graffiti writers because, that's another thing that was, I call it, it was subculture stuff around here, going to the walls of fame and taking photos of that. Yeah. And then as I got older, I wanted to go, got to go to car shows and taking photos. And, like I give a lot of thanks to my compadre Sabatino. He got in the club, because we would go everywhere.
Right.
From when it was the graffiti times to the car shows, I would always be trying to take pictures, and I wasn't trying to take pictures to be like a
famous photographer.
Yeah,
It was your documentary and your like people doing all they blog their lifestyle. You were taking pictures and taking pictures.
It was more like oh man, I want a car like that someday. There,
right. Passion.
It was I own it now. I don't have a bomb, but I own the car now.
Right. It's a passion.
I have the picture. I remember I had like developing all that and being all like happy. Oh, that's bad. Put it away and then having all these photos.
You probably got tons of them. You still got tons.
Yeah, I have a closet full.
And you had a '64 wagon too. You were putting it together.
That was way later, but I got the '64 wagon and driving around in that. And that time was a different time because do you remember when cruising? Like you would be able to go out here and anytime.
Yeah. People were cruising.
Time of day.
Yeah.
I remember getting out of high school, and there were people driving around cruising.
Right.
And I remember it like that because I went to the same high school as my sisters because I wanted to go, and my brothers to San Jose High. I wanted to go there because to me that was a big lowrider school right there back in
my
the
kids.
days.
Yeah, my kids went there.
It ain't like that no more though. But
no.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
And then the fun thing was going and catching the bus right there on Santa Clara Street where Lowrider Hydraulics was across the street too.
Right.
The winter schnitzel, people cruising by, there'd be cars parked, and be like, wow.
Right. But that during that era, that was it was a young era.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of lowriding actually in the '70s. Because even though they were around the '60s, but '70s just took a bigger how can I say it?
Became more mainstream with
it became more mainstream because of the movie Chico and the Man, Boulevard Nights, all these movies that came out. It just made it more mainstream. Lowrider Magazine popped out. All this stuff was making it. That's why in San Jose was a hub.
Yeah.
So you got to grow up and witness this with your siblings, man, which is cool. I grew up, in different areas, right? But I lived in Mountain View at the time. I had my cousins that lived here off McKee. They lived in some apartments, and he drove around in a Cordova.
Nice.
And I remember that, a Cordova. And because I still remember that big old silver dollars thing, whatever was in the front. I used to trip out on it. But he was dressing up. He was going to vocational school, so they were all dressing up in blue Dickies, blue like a mechanic, and he was taking mechanic at the time. But he had a brim on, and those are the days I remember. Like you say, you remember the movies. I go back to Grease. I remember Grease, going to the drive-in as a little kid, watching Grease. I'm like, yeah, And during the time they were dressing me up because I must have been like 5 years old. They were dressing me up in Ben Davis, derby jackets with winos from Kmart at the time, and that's the way they were dressing us. And I didn't know anything with a hairnet. I'm like, okay.
That's funny that you say that because I was looking at stuff earlier and I found pictures, and that's how they would dress me. I have a picture like that with the brim. Yeah. And then with the little chain,
right?
And they would walk me around, and my sisters would say that I was their little doll, like they would dress me up and take me out like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
you were their pickup line for oh look, that's cool. Hey, what's up?
Well, I was exposed to a lot of fun stuff back then.
No, that was a good thing. That's the stuff that a lot of people forgot. I think the new generation right now is a little different. It's cool that they're picking up on what's going on, but I think also they should give thanks to the generation that brought that around in the '70s.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that remember. I guess we're kind of old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I remember we're kind of old. No, I think
it's like when people like I've been at places and the times are different. People look at their who's that?
Right.
There's kids out there, like our kids out there that are like doing this, that grew up in this, that are like trying to like
get into it.
There's kids out there that like, dude, you got like Kid Nunez, you got like, I can't think of all the young kids, but they go out there still, and they're out there till 2:00 in the morning cruising.
Well, that's
like the only ones, and because they remember their parents grew up in this,
Right.
And there's a lot of guys out there that grew up that were in the '90s that have their kids are in this right now, and it's awesome to see that they're going they're trying to keep that tradition going, you know, kind of like what we were trying to do when how we saw it when we were young, you know, growing up. And
well, I mean, it's like every generation we go through it, and every generation always complains about it. You know, if you notice, our grandparents probably they complain about my parents, and my parents complain about you know. So every generation complains about each other. Well, they're not doing it right. They don't know what they don't know what hopping is. They don't know what lowriding is. But
get them damn kids off the lawn.
Right.
Yeah,
But
you know.
but they're learning, and this is something that is cruising is never going to die. I don't care. I mean, we're going to probably die of old age, and cruising. I mean, they're going to have probably cars flying in the air, but they're going to be cruising because cruising, it's a way of life, man. It's not just even for lowriders. It's for a lot of other car cultures out there. Hot rods, you know, custom cars, racing cars. I mean, Euros. I mean, everybody's out there. They find a niche to go out there and cruise and be part of something.
They got their own style.
They have their own style. And, you know, I know right now, like a lot of lowriders, we all complain about these cars coming out doing these donuts and stuff like that. And, you know, I get call. I've gotten calls like, "Hey, man, you know, you guys are lowriders, man. You know, you have a magazine. You know, you got to go out there and talk to them and tell them not to do it." I mean, I could tell them, but they ain't gonna listen. Like we never listened. Mm-hmm. We were in the mini truck era. We were bumping and them loudspeakers are like, "Hey, turn that down. All that noise." Yeah. We didn't care. Turned the damn thing up even more. But
all that sideshow stuff, that's a different culture right there.
It is,
you know.
But it is a car culture. Yeah. And that's what's in now. That's how, if it was lowriding. Yeah. If these type of cars were built, I think, in the 60s, they probably would have been doing it.
Well,
but
I mean, there are some.
You got to remember, like, again, I remember back in those days, in the 90s, too, and then when my sisters were growing up, El Camino was where all the hot rodders went.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
you know, and it's a different car culture. But, you know, now everything's together. So everything at one time was like, hey, those guys hung out over there by the speed shops, and then, you know, you had the lowrider, you know, people over here. Then you always had the Model 8, the 20s car people, like, you know.
Those gatos chilling, coffee shops, yeah.
So but it's a different car culture. Now, it's probably social media mixed everything up, you know.
And then not only that, it's us getting old. Yeah, we're getting older, so our demeanor in lowriding is changing. You know, we want different. Where the young generation, we want this, we want that, and they're creating things that we're going, oh no, they're going to ruin it, because that's how it was when we first started. When we first started, even the magazine, we first started putting these car shows together. You know, there was somebody out there saying, oh, you know, Streetlow's going to ruin the way car shows are made. They're ruining it for all of us. You know, I don't want to say their names, but, you know, they were out there saying that. And it was an actual company or a person that was saying that. And to me, it was like, well, we ain't ruining nothing. We're just going with the flow of my age. This is my age. This is our music. This is what, you know, it wasn't for everybody, but it was for us. And we were bringing in that crowd. We were bringing in those cars. We weren't getting everybody, you know. Like I said, now it's changed a little bit. We've changed the music a little bit, you know, and hopefully we try to continue to bring in more different, diverse car culture, so we could kind of like bounce ideas from each other, how we've always done, you know. But I mean, lowriding is going to be lowriding no matter what. Cruising is going to be cruising no matter what. And
with that being said, I think, you know, hitting on, you know, us, you know, our era, right? We saw, you know, back then what you're saying, you would hit the strip, you know, Santa Clara, King of Story. It was packed, you know, the 80s, right?
Well, the 80s for the olders,
yeah, right. But I mean, I remember, you know, like, and then all of a sudden the 90s came our time, right? And then, you know, all the knuckleheads, they ruined it. And then the cruising got banned. So then we went through that.
But it didn't really get banned.
What I'm trying to get at is the stigmatism, right?
Yeah.
That the stigmatism that they put everyone together, like, oh, if you got a lowrider, then you're a gangbanger. You know what I mean? And so it would, like, we'd be profiled. You know, you go driving down on your ride. You know, I had my 66 and I get pulled over. You know, it's like, oh, where you going? It's like, what do you mean? You know, I remember, you know, it's like, well, why are you messing with me? You know, I'm just cruising, you know. But now, you know.
Because they didn't know who we were. Now we have city members and city officials that live this type of lifestyle.
Well, that's what I was getting at, is that our generation, we went through that, right? So we went through the whole being stigmatized to where now we're not stigmatized anymore. Now it's all good for this upcoming generation to enjoy it how it should be.
Right.
You know.
Right. No, that's true. But I mean, like I said, the thing is, the people now that are looking at us, it's like how can I say? It's like going back to something that could really kind of define what you're trying to say. Watch the movie Boulevard Nights. Yeah. That will really define who lowriders are and who gangbangers are.
Right, but they just put it all together. They didn't. You know, you're brown. You got this type of car. Then you're this type. We don't care. You know.
But yeah.
But I mean, let's go back on that because they put those signs up. Things happen. Yeah, there was gang stuff, but we always cruised.
Yeah,
it never went away. They never stopped it. Like right now, they banned it. Right now, when I say, "Oh, they never banned it," yeah, to me, it was never banned. There was a sign out there. We get pulled over. All right, get pulled over, and we just go back out there again, or we go to another part. You know, it wasn't. It was a bad time for some of us. We've gotten pulled over by gunpoint. You know, it never. We still were like. If you think about it, we were kind of dumb because we still went out there. Right? We still go out there.
You're like, yo, we almost got shot. Let's do it again.
Because they'd block off I remember getting pulled over where they blocked off like a block and they had us in the middle. We're all, what happened? What's going on? We're all like, you know, with our hands up, and they got us out of the car, and then they put these brights on. They brought a car, and they go, oh, you guys did a drive-by, and we were in a convertible. You know, like, at the time, I think, man, they'd be pretty dumb to do a
drive by in a lowrider
in a convertible. But we were kids, and then this car came with the bright lights, and they go, passenger, you know, like turn around so that way the person in the car could see, and then we're all like, oh no, okay, that wasn't them or whatever, and they let us go, you know, and then we just went back out there, you know, and did it, you know, and I don't know, like the signs were there, yeah, fine, but I don't think that it never died. It never died because there's always people out there cruising any time of day before.
Well, I mean, the signs, what they were there for was for them to have a way to stop us. They could do it because it's a city ordinance.
It was for convenience. If they wanted to get you,
they could stop. Look, see the sign? You can't cruise. I'm going to stop you. Remember those little signs they used to give us? I found one in my bomb, my 50 coupe. And I made a T-shirt out of it. It was a trip. It says no cruising. If they caught you, they give you a little slip. They caught you cruising again. So many
times. That's why you switch over.
You go to the other street. So they would, take your car. We're like, okay, thank you for letting me know that. Now I'm not coming back. But now we're going to create another cruise somewhere else. Yeah. So I mean that I think it was just a way for the city to make money too.
Well, that was kind of fun though, because we would go from spot
we're like
to spot.
mice with cheese, like
you know what I tripped out one time is seeing the cops at the Wiener Schnitzel with an actual measuring
and the scales
for your tires and shit. I'm like, is that for real? Is that really happening? They were actually weighing your car, checking your tires. Your tires are too small. I'm like,
well, like you said, you stated it right. It was money. It was revenue, right? And then you have to look at the politics of San Jose at that time too. You had the mayor, Susan Hammer. She was anti every, she was trying to crack. And it was just about money, any which way they can ticket us to keep us. But you made a point. They were doing that right here in San Jose, but not in El Camino. You had all those hot rods.
Well, El Camino had no cruising.
They got to that point too, because I remember them shutting down one corner to another corner, and I'm like,
and those guys would get it hard because those guys would be running nitrous and getting busted. Because remember, my interest, I had an interest, so I liked hot rods and lowriders. Remember, I used to try to tell you, come on, let's put some like stuff from like the Strangers Car Show and stuff like that, and do that. You're like, oh, that's not what I'm,
I wanted to keep it, Chicano, like kind of like just lowrider.
It was a different time, now that stuff would be cool to put in,
Right. Which we have a next issue coming out, so hopefully that comes out as well. We're pushing for it. But I mean those were. I mean, every generation changes, as we talked about it. Every generation changes. Every cruise has changed. It just and now like they took the signs down, they really don't stop anybody anymore. I mean, I really don't see them stopping lowriders anymore. They just, but then again, there's a lot of cameras everywhere, and they get in trouble for that too. So before there was no cameras, 'cause I remember when they went to Studio 47 and we were leaving Studio 47, and we were in my 50 coupe. We were driving out, and George Marquez, my boy George Marquez, wanted to take a leak. And I'm like, bro, oh, come on, man, I got to take a leak. I go, okay. I stop the car. He gets out to take a leak. A cop car just jammed right behind us, put the lights on us, grabbed him and slammed him. Like, he was taking a piss. He slammed him against the fence. And I'm like, and I was like, hey, take it easy, take it easy. Oh, they started cussing at us. And back then, you couldn't say nothing back to them. I mean, they could dog you out. They didn't care. And we're like, shit, oh, man, these guys, you know, San Jose was ruthless for police officers. It was considered the safest, biggest city in California. Like, you couldn't get away with anything. And it was. I mean, it was strict as hell. But they were violating us left and right, big time. I mean, I think there was a big old thing where the cops in the station were dividing themselves from Chicanos and whites. They were actually separating each other because they were having the Chicanos patrol the white neighborhoods, and then had the white guys patrol the Chicano neighborhoods, and they were treating us like shit. But over there, they were getting in trouble if they talked to anybody bad. They were getting written up. But these guys over here weren't getting written up. They were beating up, you know, us. They were beating us up, taking us out of the car. One time I was driving down with George right there on Jackson. We were in a Cadillac that he had bought, and we had the trunk full of magazines, Streetlow magazines. Bro, they stop us. They're like, oh, what's up with you guys, man? Oh, nothing, man. We're just, you know, going to the office. Oh, okay, yeah, office, huh? Yeah. Just get out. They got us out of the car. They put us they put us right on the sidewalk. Sit down. And I'm like, officer, I go, why do we have to sit down on the sidewalk? I mean, can't we just, why are we even out of the car? Oh, we were just going to check your car. And they opened up the trunk and, oh, what's all this? I go, we told you. We're publishers. We're on our way to the office. They're looking at it. Oh, brother. They're looking at our magazines. Like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, what the You know, I was just like, so I had asked their sergeant, because the sergeant was there. So another cop car had rolled up. He goes, oh, no, just let them. They're in training. I said, they're in training, huh? Is this how you train them when they to kind of like look at, what do you call it? Look, to stereotype and profile us? Is that what you're teaching them, how to profile a gangster, I guess? Or I go, this is not cool, man. So after that, they let us go. But, you know, that to me was like, wow, this is San Jose, man. San Jose is tough.
I think it's also, but it was fun.
It was fun.
You know,
we kept doing it.
You know, it never changed. You know, it was fun. It was a different time. It's different than now. You know,
but this is the place, man. I mean, from Northern California, San Jose has always been the biggest hub for lowriding. I know San Francisco's doing their thing right now. You know, but San Jose, it's you know, it's the party town for lowriding. You know, picnics, gatherings. When you put one together, man, they get pretty wild now. Where before, when we first started the magazine, it was kind of dying out at that time. It wasn't dying out, but there wasn't too much. Like you said, we couldn't call somebody, hey, come check it out. There's a show going on. You know, you couldn't do it. You had to go to a payphone and beep them.
I remember that.
Hey, what's going on? On a beeper. But, you know, the cool thing is social media just took it over. And, I mean, shit.
Well, there's pros and cons of the way it is now. But, again, we could say the cons, and we'd be those old guys that say get off my goddamn lawn. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's just, we just got to adapt to the way it is now, you know?
Right.
Kind of like what we were doing back then, you know, back to the subject of, you know, what I'm here to talk about, or you want me to talk about is the magazine.
Right.
Those times, it was like,
right.
It was a different time. That was before there was a magazine. It was just Lowrider.
That's it.
And Orly's, you know, and
Orly's, the Street Customs.
Yeah.
It was Street Customs. Orly's was actually out at the time. And Lowrider had just sold themselves. They had just sold the magazine. And we didn't know. I mean, we were just putting it together. I think everything just fell together. It was all meant to be. But yeah, that's, and we used to look at those magazines. I thought Street Custom was a great magazine. To tell you the truth, I used to look at it, and they had good, Photoshop. Their Photoshop was off the hook, because I would look at these girls in person. I'd be like, God damn, what happened to her? She didn't look like.
But on that right there, your vision wasn't that at the time. When your vision, it was to make a yearbook, like the way to put everything in there.
No, but I was picking apart magazines though, and one thing I like about Street Customs, and tell me if I'm wrong, they had nice cars in there. They had the cars that we liked. They didn't have
turntables.
They had not turntable cars, but they had riding cars like 6'4" Impala,
street cars,
some 50s, but they were clean.
Yeah,
and their Photoshop again was off the hook, because they made these cars look nice. And at the time, I don't Photoshop. I mean, shit, we don't know any of that stuff. That's what I'm saying. The girls look, wow, like you look like that. They did a lot of good cleaning to it. I know during the time we popped out, it was tough too for a lot of magazines, and I guess they had sold themselves. But there was an article, well, not even an article, the letter to the publisher. When I used to always write, I used to write just stupid shit that came out of my head. I used to vent, and I used to go crazy on the letter, and I had to go over there and like edit it like 20 times, because I go, oh no, I can't write like this, because I was angry, at the time, that I felt when Lowrider Magazine sold, they sold a culture, and I guess at the time they didn't understand what they had sold. I understand now why he had to sell it, but during that time for us, it was like, man, these guys just sold our culture. Now who's going to take it over? Like, what's going to happen? We weren't trying to take it over. We just I wanted to create a book that reminded us of who we were back in the days. Like, I want to be able to pick up a Streetlow magazine right now, issue number 2, number 1, and see my son when he was a baby, or see Jesus with long hair because he was a hippie back then, right? Where, what I'm saying? Like, to just to see, look at this guy's wearing high waters. What the hell? That was in, to the kids now, they're wearing tight pants, and, 10 years from now, they're like, look at that haircut, a bowl haircut. That was the end.
Yeah.
So that was my whole vision, to create an actual book. And like I said, it was picking apart several magazines. And I took a little bit of everybody, believe it or not. I can't sit here and say, oh, I'm the creator, and this is my complete vision of who we were. I picked apart magazines, and that was my number one thing. I grabbed, because as a lowrider, you're gonna, if you're a real lowrider, if you are a real 100% lowrider, you're gonna pick up everybody's magazine.
Yeah,
you're not gonna just pick up, the problems that we have in between promoters and publishers and photographers and videographers. The people out there that are looking in, from the out looking in, they don't give a shit. They don't care. Oh, this guy's better photographer than that guy or that guy. There's always going to be one person that's going to capture a good picture. But there's people that are so cocky that they feel that they're the ones, that they were the ones that were sent here to rearrange the whole lifestyle of lowriding, or to be the. And I give credit to a lot of promoters and a lot of photographers, and like you said, there's young kids out there pushing and hustling and doing their thing, but there shouldn't be a disrespect or feel that someone else is like hating on them. Because there is some people hating on certain people.
It's funny that you say that. We're kind of off the subject of what we're talking about.
Right. No.
But it's funny that you say that, because I kind of see, I just take photos now.
Right.
Well, I haven't really put much up, and I take photos, and I kind of see, and sometimes I like trip out because there's a lot of people taking photos, and you know what, I'm gonna just just watch, or
right.
And there's people that aren't approachable like it used to be. Like, there was people when we were younger that, remember, there was only a handful back then,
right?
But they would talk to you. You would be able to ask them questions,
right. Because they were out there for the culture.
Yeah.
And there's people that aren't for the culture; they're for themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to become some type of celebrity or some type of, to
culture
me,
vultures.
Yeah, no, and not only that, if you want to do that, put the work in, and if you're about that, be about it. Don't look at somebody and say, "Oh, I'm better than him. I can do it way better than them." I don't need to hear it. Do it. And if you're not an approachable person, then you don't belong in this industry. Not in our industry, because people like that, we just shine away.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could look at it like that, but I kind of see things like people need to just, a lot of things need to stop being mean to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Or just being mean in their own way, in their demeanor.
Right.
You know, I'll give credit to people. I'll give credit to Joseph the Gooseneck.
Right.
That guy, I could call him and ask him questions. Boom. Malo, ask him questions.
Right.
James, I ask him questions. Marvin, you could ask questions.
Steven.
Yeah,
Steven.
a lot of guys, there's people out there that are, that'll like, because you know what? I may have been taking photos for a long time, but I don't know everything. Back then, just took a lot of photos, and you want to learn and expand the horizon, get better, and there's some people that won't like you see them and they just don't want to like talk to you, and like you're saying, there's like a competition when there's enough. Everybody has a different eye. There's a lot of beautiful photographers out there that have their own style. Everybody has their own style. There is no reason for anybody to be mean, like you're saying, to anybody, because, man, everybody's doing something different.
Right. Right.
No,
You're right.
I give, like, when I was younger, I'll give credit to Susan Lopez. A lot of people don't know that lady.
Yeah.
She should be like, she's a legend. If you
she should be. For the Icon Award.
Yes.
I got the Icon Award. She should be one of the ladies.
Because she's a woman that was doing photography back then.
Right.
Put a lot of people.
Right.
Put a lot of people in magazines.
Yeah, she took a picture of me and my wife, and put us in Orly's Lowriding. She did it twice. She did it when I was with my wife. She took a picture of me in my 62, and then me and my wife were at an event in Stockton. She took a picture of me and my wife and put it in the magazine. No, she was a dope person, and there's a lot of things out there that have never been brought back up to light, and I don't see a lot of people give them credit. That's why I had to bring you in, because I know you.
Oh, we could go. I mean,
we could go around and around with the people out here
with a lot, like,
and that's why, to me, even when Paulie Cardenas, my boy, rest in peace. He was a big part of us as well, and he had a lot of history in him. And I had told him when I was putting together the podcast, I wanted him to be part of it, because I said, man, you're like a ball of history. You're like Isaac would say, you're like Mr. Mr. Miyagi or Yoga from Star Wars. You got Yoda. All this. You got all this Yoda. Yeah, Yoda from Star Wars. You have all this knowledge of history of lowriding, but he was kind of mad at times. He's like, oh, you see these youngsters, and I used to sit there, I'm like, hey, Paulie, that was us. In
a different way, though.
In a different way.
I could get like that, and
all of us do.
I think, wait a minute, that's
we all do.
a different thing. Need a adapt.
Yeah, we all do.
The way it is.
I catch myself doing it all the time. Again, we're becoming these grandfathers and fathers that can't really accept a change, but we have to understand there is a change in the photography, in the videography. But as far as we're all in it for the same thing. Because no matter as much as I hate somebody, myself. As much as I hate...
You hate? Really? Hate's a harsh word.
Well, not hate. I
dislike.
Dislike
don't
the person. Or agree with. Yeah, I don't hate.
Don't agree.
That's right.
You can't hate.
I hate myself for even hating. But anyways, you're right. I don't hate. It's not a hate. It's disagree with somebody, or I can't see eye to eye with that person. It no matter what, I want to see him for the rest of my life, because we're into the same thing. So no matter what, unless I turn into something else and get into something else, I'm not, this is what I do. I'm going to continue to see this person unless he turns into something else and goes somewhere else.
We're here to stay.
We're here to stay.
You're going to hold your ground.
If we're
they're going to hold their ground.
If we're true lowriders, we're true lowriders. There's nothing going to change us. There's something that we have. It's pride. We have a lot of pride in what we do, but it is tough to sometimes catch ourselves. Oh man, oh my God, like just talking about it, even in our head. But, you know, as I get older and I've gotten older, I've kind of like, you know what? Me being mad from the beginning of the magazine, because I was always mad because Lowrider Magazine sold the magazine. I was mad. Trust me. I mean, like I was mad like a lot of people were mad. But I was able to write about it. I wrote about it in the beginning of the magazine. If you look at it, I talk harsh. I wouldn't say the name, but you could tell how kind of disappointed I was because we were out there trying to like pick up where they left off. But well, it was too hard to do that.
Well, that's what you have now. What social media has allowed it. You had an outlet.
Yes.
Right? You had an outlet being able to express yourself, right? Whereas now social media, everyone has an outlet.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone has their page, whatever it is, they're able to express themselves as you stated, and which is a good thing, you know. But now it's just so, I want to say it's just been so overwhelming, can be overstimulated. You know what I mean? Like there's so much that you can't digest it all, you know. Whereas with the magazine, you either had the magazine, you either had Lowrider, you had Orleans, you had Street Customs and Streetlow. And that was it.
Or you saw it with your own eyes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I mean? You were there and you were like, oh, shit, did you see that?
Yeah.
Dude, you know, that's what you had, you know,
right,
people
right.
talking about it. Like that was the cool times, you know, like people gathering around. Oh, did you see so-and-so's car or this and that or that, you know?
But the cool thing is these magazines that were out, they're about it. Orleans was about it.
Yeah.
Lowrider was about it. Street Custom was about it. You know, these magazines that were out, they were about it.
And that's what you created, right? By, you know, when you saw Chucky, right? And you were in the scene, you know, it's like you grabbed people that were
about it.
Lowriders.
They were about it, yeah.
Whereas nowadays, you know, any good, let's just say renowned photographer, right, can be out there doing landscaping
videographers,
right?
yeah.
And then they come into our world and all of a sudden, you know, they're bringing their technicality, which is great, you know, and all of a sudden now they're lowriders. It's like easy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
but then again, that's kind of, it's a way where we have to kind of accept it because who knows, they might be in it forever.
Yeah.
But back then there was a magazine that was out,
right?
That came out. I don't want to say the name, but they came out looking different. Like the way they dressed, the way they talk was different, but they hung out amongst us. Then they came out with a magazine, and then from one month to another, the guy was wearing Ben Davis, Dickies, getting a tattoo. I'm like, this guy was changing.
Right.
But then he couldn't take the pressure of lowriding because you got to have thick skin, you know, because we got dogged out. People talk shit about us all the time.
They still do.
And I don't care. I don't care because I'm not doing it for their pleasure. I'm doing it for the ones that do love it. You know, we're about them. We're not about that person. But obviously this guy that was creating this magazine, had put out a magazine, couldn't take that pressure, and he skedaddled, went back to where he was from. He was from another state. You know, like I said, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to, you know. But he was from another state. He came in, created a magazine, and you know, I'll let you know offline. I'll let you know.
Looking at you like,
yeah, I'll let you know.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, when we got offline, you'll be like, oh shit, yeah. But he didn't have the thick skin, and he was always getting bombed on at the time because during the time there was MySpace.
Oh, MySpace.
So it was during the MySpace. And what was that there was a blog where everybody lay it low. So on Lay It Low, he was always getting bombed on, and I guess he couldn't take that pressure. That he just said, "I'm done." Where us, I mean, they would talk, you know, but I think a lot more people accepted us because we're Chicanos and we were lowriders, and we were giving them something that I think we all kind of liked. You know, like I said, when I first started, I was dissecting a lot of magazines. One thing I liked about Orleans is that they were kind of like almost like a yearbook too, and they had poems in their book. I used to love reading their poems. Believe it or not, it was crazy. I used to love reading their poems. And one thing I like about Lowrider is that they had their mailbox and they had arte at one time, but then it disappeared. And then Street Customs, like I said, I just liked that they were about more like the Impalas, the bombs, the more of a American steel type of cars that we liked. cutlasses.
It was a little bit of a fancier magazine.
Right. It was clean.
Yeah.
It was
like
I said,
I remember,
because of their. I'm telling you, their whoever was editing and whoever was their Photoshop, they had their shit on. They're on point.
They're airbrushing.
They're airbrushing everything.
Yeah.
But they ended up selling the magazine to somebody, and they just ran it down to the ground. They didn't know what to do with it because magazines don't make money. People thought that these magazines were making money. They weren't. They were more of a social media. What made money was advertisement. Yep. And as you can see, none of our books had that much advertisement. I wish I did, because I took apart a Lowrider magazine when Albert Lopez had it at the time, and looking at the pricing of each page, I was like $900, $1,200, and I took everything out, and I looked at my magazine, right, and I was like, it's thin, but theirs was thinner. After I took I pulled all their ads out. I said, this is their magazine.
Not only that, feel the paper.
Right.
And like all these magazines right here that we were looking at earlier, you could feel
the quality.
The evolution of the magazine.
Right. Yeah. Well, this one's like, it's a lot thinner, but still, it got thinner.
The evolution of the magazine, and the covers and the models, the difference.
Right. Well, we had to catch up. We had to learn. At the time, we didn't have that. How can I say? That budget. We didn't have that money to really put us in that space with it.
That's what Chucky was stating, right? Is like at that time the vision, and then as it evolved, right, and then we were talking. Then once I got involved, and all of a sudden it started, I'm more of the wild one, right? And so I brought something. I'm not saying I brought it, but it's like I added a dynamic to the magazine where it was always there, Right. George and I, we were running around, we're always out trying to get, females, the women out there, because we wanted to put them in the magazine because we, like I said, we want people to, oh man, who's that, and that's what people picked up.
Everything, how you're saying everything does evolve, and he's right what he's saying, and it's good that you admitted it because,
I was going to talk about it.
Because I didn't want to talk, I didn't want to go there because,
right.
How do you say
that? My vision was more classy. It was classy, kind of give it that. But you have to understand one thing that and we talked about.
Didn't you say, well, back sex sells?
So sex sells. You just can't sell sex.
And it's funny that you say that because I have people that talk to me like, about how I take my photos and and I take a lot of photos and I have stuff that I just take pictures of people, and I never really thought about it like and then it's sad because all the pictures that I've taken of people and they're not here, and it's like yearbooks,
right?
You know what I mean? There's stuff that like I told you earlier, we took a lot of pictures at things that weren't big things. They weren't big car shows.
But we made it look big.
Yeah. The magazine made it look big, and you could see, and like if you look at earlier Streetlow magazines, and you look to that cover right there that you have,
right.
It was a different. Like once you got into the car shows, the magazine changed. It wasn't so much of a yearbook type thing or a thing, which is not a bad thing. I may not agree with it.
Right.
You're my brother, so I can tell you.
Right. No, I got you. And it got to the point where. We were adding entertainment to it. We had to cater to some promoters and stuff like that. And I agree with it. And that's why I even talked to a lot of the car clubs, because where are all the picnics at?
Yeah.
Where are they at? There's no more picnics. There's no more annuals. There's no more. And there is in Los Angeles, because Richard Palos goes out there and shoots a lot of banquets. But what happened to the picnics? What happened to the annuals? What happened to,
Well, there are annuals here. You got like I don't know if I should even mention clubs because I don't want to make it like that. But there are clubs out there.
No, don't mention it because
there's the 408 Riders. There's
you got the East
the
Side
Dueñas. You got like East Side Riders.
Right.
You got what do you call it? Hormigas.
Yeah.
Holding down, like doing that, and and like. The who? Yeah, others. Yeah, I was just thinking about that too, doing it, and that is awesome. People should do that, but again, money. You know what I mean?
Right.
It takes money to do an event, but
but that's what I'm saying. An event, those are events. what happened to the picnics?
Yeah. Like,
you know, one thing Sonny told me a long time ago, he's like, the problem that the car clubs have is that they go to shows, and it's not car club, just it's individuals sometimes, and they'll drag their car club into it. They see, oh, we could do this, we could create a car show, and they get into it. They do. And then I see a lot of car clubs that do it, and then they create a car show, and then they see the money coming in. And it's in the beginning, it's easy because everybody's being helped. You know, everybody's donating, everybody's kicking back, you're giving. And then when it comes to like, okay, well, now you got to pay. Now you got to pay insurance. Now you got to pay for security. What do you mean? This is our car club. We're doing it because of the car club. No, it's a business. It becomes a business. So even Sonny Madrid said one day, he goes, it's going to be a death of a car show, because what the people outside looking in, they see a lowrider show and it's the same. They don't know and understand that every event's different.
Yeah, but
there's shows being called.
But we're talking about shows like right now. You're saying about picnics. Those
are
fun times. Remember when
right.
they had the what do you call it? The Lowrider Alliance thing?
Right.
Everybody would meet.
Yeah.
Clubs would have like a tug of war.
Yeah.
No, and only that.
Big car clubs too. Remember when the Dukes and Impalas would have stuff?
Yes.
When Impalas would have their picnics over here at Hillview Park on the other side of like where East Side Riders did that.
Right.
And everybody would go to the East Bay to like little parks. It wasn't about like money or
register your car.
Register your car.
I mean, you have East Side Riders. They do their secret mile thing. I think it's free. They don't charge, which is the cool thing.
Free food
and all that. And that's what I'm talking about. Like,
and I don't think any of the other clubs that I mentioned charge for their things. And that was, but now I kind of get it now, because back to that, a lot of them say, you know, call for thing. Again, social media.
Right.
What we're talking about, the pros and cons.
Right.
You know, it's like saying, hey, come to my house where I'm gonna have a barbecue, and then we post it, and all of a sudden,
people show up.
Who's this guy, or who? People show up, and it's like, you know, you kind of like now gotta like cater to whoever you're gonna have at your event. You know, like you're gonna have a barbecue. It's a different time.
Right.
It just clicked in my head right now. People can't just have stuff, because it gets around. And then it turns too big, and then what happens? That's when you guys got to break it up. You got too many people here, and you know.
Well, I mean, that will continue to happen no matter what,
because the times changed.
Yep.
But that's what the magazine what we did, right? We would go to these gatherings, we'd go to these picnics, and you know, it was about family. You know, there was family out there, and it was just we were just capturing the moment, you know, and us ourselves, we were involved in it, but we came back and then we presented it, you know.
Right.
Oh, you would piss off a lot of the wives over there.
I know.
Since we already got into it, you already took the cat out of the bag.
You piss off hella.
I can tell you from my perspective, from seeing.
I mean, you had to like, oh, you know what? That's Teleku.
And the few times where I went with you, I'd be like,
this guy, right? I mean,
like, you know.
Well, I mean that's.
Hey, but that's what it was. Like that's another thing, you know. We're jumping all over the place on this.
Right, we are.
Hey, some of these models, you know, should come in here and talk, because there are people here that grew up, you know, just like how we grew up in the car culture. There are models out there that grew up.
They heard about it.
This is what I want to do someday. And I know that because, like, the first cover.
Right.
That girl, when I met her in Sacramento, her mom was all down for it. You know, this is what I want. I want to be on the magazine.
Right.
You know. Just like the way we were in the cars, a lot of those models. Some, you know, I don't know.
We still get it though. We still, I mean, there are mothers that, hey, you know, I want my daughter to model. You know, and it's
we still got that. But you see that again. So that goes back to us being cochinos and us. Oh my God, they're bringing little. They're bringing little.
You guys.
They're bringing little kids.
I'm the cochino.
They're bringing no, but it was to a point where, oh, you guys are bringing little girls in, and again, like I said the last time. It wasn't that we're bringing little girls. We're young. We're 25 years old. We're not going to bring in an older chick, older than us. We're trying to get girls that were 18, 19, 20. Those are our age girls. So we're trying to keep the magazine young, and we wanted to make sure that flow of people continue to roll with us till this age. Because right now, at the age that we're at, we still got these people that follow us. We still got people that say they grew up, you know, looking at Streetlow. This is their Lowrider magazine. It wasn't Lowrider magazine. This is their Lowrider magazine. When they talk about Lowrider magazine, they're talking about, make sure I don't grab that magazine because, they're talking about this magazine. I don't want to grab the other one. But that's what they're talking about. They grew up on Streetlow magazine. Like you said, it was a yearbook for them. And I know, like you said, even the newer ones have a lot of it's newer stuff, but it still has kids in there. It still has clubs in there. It still has. It's not my photography, but it is their photography. And the only thing is, it's if I was out there shooting,
those were the good old.
You're gonna see families. You're gonna see plaques. You're gonna see the moments to capture because I think we talked about this. We like the scenery. I didn't like just seeing. I used to like seeing the scenery of the actual people, the flow of somebody poking their nose when they weren't being seen. You got to capture that moment. The candid. Yeah. Those are things that
see that right there. The magazine changed because, like you said, you weren't shooting no more.
Right.
You were shooting back then. You were shooting back then, and our vision was that. That's what was mostly. If you look at the early issues, that's what it was, and it changed because, like anything, you had to be the corporate guy, and not be out in the street, and
I mean, I tried. I would look back at the previous issues, the earlier issues, and I'd see, then Gilbert would even tell me, hey, when you go out there, get the groups, get the clubs, get the plaques.
But see that right there, that would be hard to do because that's not you.
No, but I did do that. I did do that.
But you have your style of doing it.
Well, I mean, it's like I'm over there. I'd be shooting, right? I'd get there. Okay, let me go get the plaques first, right? So I knock out the plaques, get the groups, and then now
I gotta relax.
Yeah. I mean that's like we talked about, like photographers. Everybody had a different style. What you do is good. Yeah. What you do, but you couldn't. Like he told you to do that because he's looking at like, oh, we got to do it like this. That couldn't be replicated because that wasn't what your style is. It'd be like me for him telling me, I want you to go with him and take all the photos for him. Have his brain.
Well, what it was is because we'd go to shows and Gilbert was at the booth, and so I had to go out there and cover the show.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I got to go and get this, and then sometimes I get sidetracked. I'm over there, doing my thing, taking the pictures, and all of a sudden I see something. I was like, oh hey, and then beeline.
Yeah.
Straight beeline. Then it's like, hey, can let's do this, and then
you got your style.
Next 3 hours go by. I'm like, oh crap, I still got to go get the car clips. I got to, what I mean? And so it's where there was different. Then that's when we started, more people started hopping on the team.
Yeah.
And then that's when we started delegating. Okay, you do that, I'll do this.
Oh yeah. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Like it'd be hard for you to get you to do something that you don't do. You had a different, because you also did kind of like public relations type stuff too, your own way, and then talk to a lot of people, But like on our time, that's what we were doing. We were foot soldiers out there,
Although it was harder. It was harder in our time because nobody knew who we were.
And we're looking again. We're being old. Back in our time.
Back in our time, nobody knew.
You were around.
But it was harder for us because we weren't. Nobody knew who we were. Streetlow. What is Streetlow? Yeah. Where now you mention it. If you're a real lowrider, you know who we are. If you're not a real lowrider, then I don't expect you to know who we are.
And it was fun, man. Like right here, I see Keita. Oh man, it gets me just thinking about that guy.
You see it, and that's what one thing that to this day I appreciate. I've always been awarded with awards. I got awards from all different kinds of car clubs, man, from Impalas to Devotions to Usos. I mean, I can't read that far. I'm going blind myself, but there's I don't have them all up in here.
That's whatever. That's Ensenada.
It's in Ensenada.
This one, Corcoran Car Show.
Corcoran Car. So we were always awarded something, which to me that meant that we were doing stuff. I got more awards. I just haven't put them all up.
Are you bragging now or what?
Oh yeah, I have to.
We're talking about.
Hey, I got the Icon Award too now. But hey, thanks to also to Chris York and company, man, for giving me
good event.
Giving me the Icon Award, which is kind of cool. I think there's other people out there that deserve it, and I'm gonna hopefully talk to him. And I'm gonna have him in here one day, and we're we're going to talk about, you know, how he selects and stuff like
Susan
that.
Lopez, first woman, one of the
Right.
women.
No, that's cool. No, and it's cool that because she definitely deserves it. No, for sure.
But but back to what we were saying, like there's like key to. Yes. I remember going to Frisco's finest events.
Right.
Going to like in Watsonville to the little the picnics, like
and he was there.
You know, everybody. Like I'm talking about all these people that we would talk to and try to like that supported us. Till this day, I believe a lot of those people support you, or you know, I'm on my own, but there's a lot of people that I see that I've built friendships with them that remember, and you know that I'm grateful that you know that they're good people and they remember those because
every time I see you, I'm like, yeah, he was part of us. The beginning, you were part. He's still part of us because no matter what, I don't have issue number one, but no matter what, like I said, our names, our photos, everything will always be embedded forever. So that's something that you know I know video has, but who knows? Somebody could flip a switch and disappear, like MySpace. What happened to MySpace? Gone. You know, they could do that to Facebook. They could do that to all these.
Well, that's why we got to vote and make sure that we don't get our freedoms taken away. You know,
right. Well, it'll be hard for that to happen.
I think it's important to continue printing.
Printing is very important.
That right there is. But you know what? I personally miss magazines. I like magazines. I don't know about a lot of people. I like holding a magazine. Right. You know, and it that's why like I buy a lot of books. Like when I see people that make a book, I'll try to buy a book just because I like to have that. Right. You know, I really think even though that somehow someone's gonna figure out how to make because it's expensive. Right. There's a lot of people that say, oh, you know, that have a vision to do their magazine, but printing is hard, and I feel like as magazines are going to come back. There's going to be a way to make it cheaper, and I think that it will come back someday, and I hope it comes back in our time, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm going to continue to print. Like I said, I have another issue that we've been working on since Paulie passed away. He was one of our writers, so we're trying to get all that writing back, trying to get everything put together, but we are going to continue to print because it is important, you know, and there is no money in printing, but there is a satisfaction for us because this is our lifestyle. And people out there, oh, you know, printing ain't the way to do it. Printing's gone. Forget about it. No, man, don't say that because you can't afford it. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what you stated. It's a lifestyle.
Yep.
You've created a business out of a lifestyle, but irregardless, it's always a lifestyle first.
Right.
And so even though it's not making money, it's important to continue this history.
Right.
Because, you know, 50 years from now, right? I mean, we look at stuff from the 40s.
100 years from now.
Exactly, right?
200 years from now, this stuff's going to still be around.
Yeah. And that's what, you know, what I was saying is like kind of, or wanted to ask, like, how'd you feel when you were going out to all these other, you know, I mean, yeah, you were just out there taking pictures and not knowing, but then all of a sudden the people started seeing their picture that you took in the magazine. And then,
you know what? Let me I'll get back to that one. But like right now, like I was just looking at something on my phone. That one guy, Bad Habit. That guy right there, guys like that, there's got to be more guys like that want the magazine. That's what's going to bring magazines back. Yeah. Dudes like that. And you guys probably know a lot of collector guys that want magazines. There are people out there that are not old, because I know there's that demographic of people out there saying, oh, that's old. That's for old people. Like you're saying, it's all social media. Yeah. But I know there's people that actually want a magazine. There's got to be people out there.
Oh, no, there still is, especially if they're in it, you know, because they want to see themselves. Anybody could put you on social media. Anybody put you on camera, because that's very easy to get to, and it's not expensive to get to. But try to put you on a magazine. If us as a publication, if we think you're worth being put in our magazine, that's something. I mean, that's an award within itself.
Yeah.
But, you know, other people will shoot it down because they can't do it. It's hard to do it. And if they've done it before and they stop doing it and say, it ain't about that. Because it's hard. It is hard. It's not profitable. And, you know, when I first started the magazine, I read an article because I thought, we're going to blow up, make money, oh, my God, we're going to make hella money. I read an article about it, and it said magazines, books, anything will never make you any money. It's what comes along with it. Like, you have to build something and this is going to take you to that next level.
The side hustles.
So, which took us into creating car shows. Because to go in, just to jump in and do a car show and say, oh, I'm going to do a car show. I'm going to go to this city. I'm going to do a car show. We tried that. We tried that plenty of times, and how successful were we?
Yeah, no,
now you're going into something different.
No.
You guys, what you're saying about the car shows, but what about the losing the money? That's less money on an issue too.
No, right? No, I'm just saying what I'm trying to say is like I'm talking about just creating something like to you have a vision, you're creating it. You have to have the heart behind it, like 100%.
Yeah, to lose
and to gain. But when I read the article about it, it said, you know what? If you have the passion for it, and I read this on the second, third issue because I was like, why aren't we making any money yet? Why do we keep putting money into this? Why do we continue? But it was just the pride that we had. You know, I wasn't never able to really fix any of my cars because most of my money was going into these magazines. To build a magazine was like $25,000 to $30,000. Printing, designing, going places.
Those are your cars.
Those are my cars. Those are this is my car. This is as far as I got.
Well, how many cars did you sell?
I sold plenty of cars.
In the beginning, look at all the stuff that you had to sacrifice. And
I sold.
And a lot of times too, when we would go and like, hey, can you put an ad? You'd put an ad, but it wasn't about making a profit. It was about, okay, I'm going to make an ad so that way I could get enough money to make the issue.
Right.
And so then.
And it wasn't, and sometimes it wasn't even, I couldn't make that money.
Yeah.
So I was putting money out of my own pocket just to make it happen. But the sales of the magazine start rolling in hard. But the same money of the sales was going into making more we were printing close to 50,000 issues at one time. 50,000 issues. And I was amazed because I was paying a bill of 15, 30, 40, 50,000, 60,000. I'm like coming out with this money. I'm like, I was never messing around with this kind of money at an early age. I was like, I'm young and I'm paying these bills off. But it was enough money to pay for what it needed to be paid for. And I was happy with that. Then I go home and just be a broke ass as I was, Like my wife told me one day, she was like, only if they knew the real Streetlow man. Here he is sitting watching his little ass TV. We don't even have cable. And you know what I'm saying? Like it was that point. I wasn't, I didn't have what other people, I wish I had what they had, but it wasn't that, but thank God I did it because I've always been humbled enough to stay away from things that I think aren't worth me having, like all the bling bling, all that bull. I mean, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, even if I had the money, I'd still buy a used car or something used. I'm not gonna.
Well, if they saw what was in the parking lot right now, what you're driving, it'd be like, well,
right? That's Streetlow, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't.
You've always been like that.
Because I don't care. I rather put my money into making memories, and that's what this magazine is. It's memories. It's history, and that's kind of like what I kind of felt that I needed to do. I wanted to embed myself into the history of lowriding and something I really love to do, and invite you guys to be part of it because you guys were a part of it, And I never said me.
Well, right now you're talking more than us,
right? Right. But it was never me. It was always in the book. Is always us. I always hate it when somebody would say, "Oh, I," because this book was created by a lot of us.
Well, back then, too, like. I would develop my own film, like you were saying. I would develop my own film, and today I forgot the book because I put it in a filing cabinet so it'll stay cool. I had a stack of negatives in the sheets that I wanted to bring so that we could kind of show like, you got this little thing, and this is how the stuff got saved.
Right.
And then you had all this stack of of pictures. Right. Here you go. I remember you would say, "Oh, That's what am I gonna do with this? What am I gonna do? Like, and you would have to get them, and you get to get every single one scanned.
Well, no, that's what we were talking about the other day. Every scan, then get it scanned. Then we had to fix it. We had to do things. It was like, oh my God, it was a
process,
a big process, man.
But I remember you'd be like, oh, there's a picture in there that didn't come out right. Do you have can you get another? I had to go get another copy of the picture,
right?
Because we didn't know what we were doing. You know what I mean?
Hell no.
And it sucks because. That's where the name, like Chucky's photos.
Right.
Because everybody would, ask. It ain't a name to be like, famous or anything.
Well, you know what?
Okay,
let me ask you
where's
something.
Chucky's photos at?
Let me ask you a question.
My cajon over here,
Let me ask you, where does the name Chucky come from? That's what I want. I know I've always known you as Jesus, but they're like Chucky. I'm like, okay, well, Chucky too, but it was Jesus. Is it because Chucky the doll or?
It came from the club. I think it was Eddie Zepeda. He would I remember I had like longer hair, it was colored. I think it was because my hair had a little bit of like reddish in it.
You wore overalls?
I wore overalls one time, exactly.
That's where Chucky
and that's where it came from. And then I remember I used to get mad, and he would call me that, and it stuck.
It's there, Chucky.
Yeah,
Chucky's there to stay.
Chucky's photos is because like, where are my photos? Like, I feel bad because there's a lot of people like would ask, where's my photos? Like, are you gonna
develop them? You like
yeah, and then that's why I said you got an archives. There's enough to do a big. Big stuff because we took a lot of photos, and I have a lot of photos at home. Like I said, I was gonna bring negatives to show, like
right.
And, all the stuff that we
put together.
I mean, you should probably come out with your own memoir.
I wouldn't even know what to do. Like I look at it, I look at all that stuff, and I get like all stressed out. Like, what am I gonna do? And like I
because it's history. It's history.
I told my wife when I die, just post everything or burn all my stuff because I have a lot of the memories of all those days. And what's gonna happen? When we're gone.
I mean, what you could do, social media is so strong. I mean, start posting a lot of them. Yeah. Start posting a lot of them. Post everything you can. Yeah, post everything.
People ask me because like I know like when a while back, like I have like Joseph Gooseneck. He thought, hey, I'm gonna do there's gonna be a photo exhibit. Come do it with me. And then I'm all like, I don't do that. I don't really get out and do that. And he kept telling me, just do it,
But you did do it, right?
Yeah, I ended up doing it. Thanks for showing up, by the way. Anyway,
nobody ever invites me anywhere.
I invited you. Whatever. We'll go into that.
I want to see. I want to see the invite.
I'll show you the text message.
Okay,
I got the text. You want me to bust the text message?
Yeah, I want to see.
We'll do it right here on there.
Right now, man.
But he told me, come, do this, and and I'll give thanks to Kukui, Orly, and his brother because they go, come do this. Right. And I did it, and then I thought I was gonna put like a little bit of photos, and just like, oh, you need more photos, and he made me, I put a lot of photos up there because I didn't know, I never done it like that, and I was kind of nervous to do this because I didn't think, are people gonna want to see this, and then people came, but then I got people that, like you said, that know, Chucky, dude, you gotta
bring these pictures.
We thought you were gonna bring the other pictures, like your old pictures, and I'm like. I wouldn't even know what to do. Like we were talking before, you're saying, you should scan all of them and
well, that's I think that's what needs to be put out now. Like a lot of the old pictures need to be put out now. Even at the library in San Jose, they're doing that whole history with lowriding, and people get mad because a lot of stuff aren't being really put out there that should be put out there. But it's not that. It's just they need to reach out to her. Her name is Estella, the girl that puts it together. She wants more people to reach out to her. But I get it. I see selfishness of other people just wanting to get their stuff in there without trying to invite other people. And I think that's where it's kind of, like you say, it's kind of sucks because everybody should invite each other because we're all in for the same thing. Some might have bigger expectations or bigger things going on, which is cool, but we're all on the same level. We're all taking the same pictures, of the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
And but us, we go back to a different era that nobody can even, how can I say, can't even picture, right? Because that's what we took during that time. They don't have those memories. We have them, So if we post them, they can't catch up to us because they have to go backwards. All they could do is go forward.
Well, that lady Stella, coincidentally, I worked at the library and I got asked. I met her.
Okay.
She's all for it. She wanted. Right. She asked me, because someone told her about me. And she wanted me to post some photos. Right. But at the time, I was, getting into another job.
Right.
And I couldn't. But then I kind of like feel like I guard those memories. Like that's another thing too. Like to go through all that, I don't have the equipment to go through all that stuff. You know.
Well, she'll help you.
You know.
I mean, if you give her stuff, she'll blow things up. Because I've seen her, like that's what they want to do. You don't have to give her everything, but give her just the ones that, because like they say, one picture is worth a million words, and that picture you took can mean a lot. Maybe not to other people, but to other people, they might see something different in that picture. And to me, nowadays, the pictures that are out there, they're all the same. All of them.
Well, see, that's the thing, too. Like, it would have took me time to go through my photos because, excuse me, let me fix these. Back when we were doing this, it wasn't like how do you say, cars out there weren't like crazy show cars or you know what there is out there. There's a lot of people that invest money into their cars and there was there would be a car badass. Oh, look at that! Even though it had a primer spot, it was still badass. Like if you look at the early Streetlow magazines, there's a lot of street cars that weren't perfect.
Streetlow.
Exactly. And that's what I miss. And you're right. That needs to be seen more.
Well, the thing is, right now, you have one thing that needs to be understood is that the pandemic changed a lot.
Yeah.
Because back then we were riders. These were riding cars. There were only the amount of people you can count that were creating these turntable cars because they were competing for car of the year with the magazine. They were competing for prize money. So it was more of a hobby and a job for them than for the ones that were riding. Because I would build my car and I got nicks and all kinds of crazy stuff on my car, scratches, and you know it was at one time it was flawless. Now it's just a car again.
But again, social media.
Right.
Back when cars, like my car is not. I drive my car. My car is not perfect. You know what I mean? My car has a style of what I remember as a kid. I have the Kragers and just the old school look. You know what I mean? I'm trying to go for that, like you know, and that's how it is. The way I'm making memories in my car.
Right.
And what social media did with what I feel, you know, my opinion, you know, it ain't to offend anybody, is it put like the best of the best, and people think that's the best of the best has got to be right now, and there's nothing against those people. Those cars bust out, but does the car have a story? Every car out there has a story. People have stories. That your bomb. Imagine the stories that car has. Right, places we took that car.
You have to create memories of these cars.
My when I had my wagon, I have memories. Like someday I want to get another wagon because I just have memories of a wagon. Right. The car that I have now, I have memories.
Right.
And then there's a lot of young people that I see that are going that route because they're getting guided.
Right. They're
driving them. They're buying them. I've watched on social media. The good thing about social media. Right. I watched these guys buy like cars like LTDs or something, and like bone stock street cars, and then boom, they're just the wheels, hydraulics. Right. They're polishing them, and it's going back to the old school. There's few people out there that are doing that, and that's to me is low riding. I mean, you know, everything is low riding, but I like the story of
the street. It's street low riding, and it's memorial
memory and stories. Yeah. You know, I don't know. Do you agree? Like
it's 100%. That's why I created Streetlow. That's really why the magazine was created for the streets, for cars that are street turntable cars. Much respect for them, but it's not. It's like I tell them, it's an investment that they're putting in, and if they're not enjoying them the way they should be enjoyed, then in reality, it's an art piece. You know, and I get it.
In your case, it's kind of hard because you got a magazine and you got to put those cars in there.
No. I give props to all of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what
props to the other guys to build their cars to that point.
It plants the seeds.
But you have to understand that you got to create memories with them, because if you don't, someone else will. You know, you could build a car and put $100,000 into it, and then this guy is gonna come
drive it,
pay $100,000 and take it, start hopping and doing all kinds of crazy stuff because they didn't build it, they didn't have the heart to build it. They just came to buy it, and then they're riding it. Because like my cousin Art used to call them. He called them microwave cars. You know, where you go, it's a microwave car. You go get it, boom, put some wheels in it, and you're driving it. It's a microwave car. You're not really putting your heart into it. And some people really put their heart into it, that they drive them, they fix them themselves. You know, some people don't know how to fix these cars, but as you own one and you learn more and more about it, and you kind of almost evolve yourself around the car, that you become the car. That's how you know, like that's how you build this history. I mean, not history. You build these memories with this car, and that's why it gets passed on from generation to generation.
Right.
And you know, like me right now, I got a lot of cars. I'm trying to get rid of some. My daughter's like, "No, Dad, keep them." I'm like, I haven't done anything with them. I gotta get to the one I want to fix, build it so we can.
Got to move all the cars out of the way to get to that one.
Right, right. Well, I got a couple of cars that are not being fixed, but
You mean the museum?
of cars, I know,
And I'm
and
pretty sure
bikes
it's
and
grown,
stuff.
you know, and not to mention all the cars that are probably parked somewhere else that are just,
Right. I know the ones that are parked somewhere else are done. I just haven't taken them out. I don't have time to go out and pick them up. But, you know, when I do, memories I do have is my Suburban. I got a 40 Suburban. I've taken my daughter out to go get ice cream, taking them cruising, take my wife out cruising. So I've built memories in that Suburban, which it's never going to go anywhere. It's going to them because they've driven in it. They love it because I've been offered money for it, and I you know, good money too.
Well, that's where the memories, right? So with me with the, you know, driving around in the 49, right? And my children, they're fighting to see who's gonna be shotgun. You know what I mean? I got my 14-year-old daughter. She's always, I'm here. This is my car. This is my car. I'm like, okay, it's your car. You know what I mean? I'm just a chauffeur. You know, and that's the memories. You know, them. You know, it's like us when we were younger, right? Like how'd you feel when you were, you know, in your brother's car, you know, driving, and everybody's looking, and you're just like,
yep, exactly. You know, like it was cool to be there, and but I remember going on you know, duck down, get down. You know, that was true. When you heard stories, that was a true thing. Like you had to get down, you know, and he'd be cruising with his music all loud. I remember watching him just cleaning his car. And after that, he would, you know, and being there kind of helping him, but you know, probably wasn't really helping him. And then going to the burger bar, and then seeing the car under the lights right there, and then he'd take me home and then drop me off and then go cruising. Yeah. And you know, his weekend was like, you know, to see that. And that's why, like, you know, I love 64s, I love bombs, but like a 77 Cutlass, I would love to have that car because that was a car that I remember, just like a 64. Right. You know.
You had your memories in that car.
Memory in cars like that, and seeing all the big cars, you know, like all these guys that are busting out Lincoln Continentals, and you know.
But those are cars of those times. That was like I said again, this is a new era. So imagine if these cars were back then. We'd be like, dude, see that Honda Civic, bro? Dude. That shit was so dope.
But now look at the mini truckers are coming out.
Right. And I was in the mini truck. That was my era too. I was 15, turning 16. I had a Mazda B22 King Cab. That was my era, beanie truck. But I also had a 64. But you know, all said and done, man. I know we're up on our time right now.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Right.
Hey, there's a lot we could talk about because there's a lot that you know. You had a question you asked me, and then there's a lot that I would like to say, and you know, we left a lot of little things, little tales of stuff. Right. You know.
Well, maybe next time I could get you in here and bring some of those pictures and bring some of the stuff that you have, because I would like to talk about our era a little bit more. You know, I know we got off the subject with a lot of stuff because there's so much to talk about lowriding, bro. And I know a lot of people out there think the same. Believe it or not, it just a lot of people don't have the social media or something to really talk about it, and wish they could talk about it and be like, oh yeah. You know, that's right. You know, these guys are, you know, social media is taking over, and there's other people doing this, they're doing that. And I mean, there's so much going on right now in this new generation of lowriding, and social media has taken a big push and toll on our culture that you know, it's hard to who's right, who's wrong, and is the new generation being brought up right, or you know, there's a lot to say.
Well, you know, there is, and there on that generation thing, this generation, there are some, like I said, I mentioned some kids earlier, people, I mean, they're not kids, but, you know, young people. Yeah. You know, there's kids, I mean, I shouldn't say kids, there's young people out there that that really are hungry for this. And there's people that are a little bit younger than us. Like there's certain car clubs out there, you know. Right. I'll mention it. There's the Bandits. There's the guys from the Classic Memories.
Right.
You know, they're those guys, the young people in that club, they're picking up a lot of skills. There's a lot of up and coming dudes that are going to be bomb guys and custom builders. Like, you know, Daniel, he painted that Lincoln in his backyard by himself. You know, in his yard, him and his cousin, and way they did old days.
Well, could you imagine? Right now, you're saying all these new guys coming out. Remember back when we started, how many bombs were out there?
There was the older guys had the bombs,
but how many were there? Like, as it is now?
Well, there was a lot.
Not like it is now, though.
Well, not like it is now, but there was a lot of bombs because we saw them.
Yeah, right. No, but I'm saying, but just the movement of it, like.
We
could count the bombs that were out there.
And there wasn't a lot of convertibles.
No, but back then we could count the bombs. We could count the people that owned them.
Yeah.
We know Rudy from East Bay, Chewy from Cupertino. We had, you know, like everybody that we knew owned bombs. My cousin Art, Rudy out in Sacramento. There was certain people we could count. Oscar out in Watsonville. I mean, there was just... Yeah, you know, so there was a lot of these guys there were certain cars you can account. It isn't like it's now. Now it's like these guys are still around and they still have bombs.
And their kids are building them.
But now there's other people that are even interested. There's more people in it. There's a lot more people that I've met that have, hey, man, I just got a bomb. Can you, they ask me for help. Hey, can you help me with this? Who do you recommend for that? You know, and same with the Impalas, you know. There was a lot of Impalas all the time, but they weren't all fixed up. There were buckets. A lot of them were backyard boogie things, man.
Or street cars, like we were talking about. They were making memories in them.
Now they're just a gang of them. There's a gang of cars. All the cars are being fixed. Ever since this pandemic, it created this big wave of, I have to have one now. It's a social status now to have a lowrider. It wasn't a lifestyle. Now it's a social, almost like a social status. Like a.
Do you think it's going to bottom out?
It will.
I mean, there's only so many rides left. Right?
No, it will. Yeah. I mean, it's going to get to. Well, it did before. It did before. It bottomed out when the mini trucks came in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, no. Yes and no. Yes, it will, because it's going to get too pricey. And no, because these cars are classics now. They're not your junk car anymore. You're buying a junk car and you're paying $15,000 for it now. Where before it wasn't like that. Before you could put $10,000 into your lowrider and have to sell it for $4,500 because you're not going to get the 10 for it. Oh, you put hydraulics in it? I'll give you 25. You ruined the car. The suspension is ruined.
Now you're
right now
money for a lifted car.
Right now you're paying the big money because now everybody wants it. But back then it wasn't like that. I remember because my cousin bought a 64 SS out of a Stockton. I think it was a Stockton. He paid at the time like $1,500 for it. And the car was candy apple red with white guts. It was lifted from back side to side, and it had true spokes on it. I'm like, and I mean, for $1,500. And then that's when it bottomed down. Like all the lowriding bottomed down because now you had all these mini trucks, VWs coming out. Everybody wanted a mini truck. But still, there was still those hardcore bomb guys and lowrider cars, but it was easier for them because now you can get them cheap.
Oh, it's crazy to hear when you talk to the older guys that had lowriders. They had 64s or bombs.
Yeah,
and they'll when you hear stories of them saying, "Oh, I sold my 64 and bought a mini truck."
Yeah, and
then they went back to now they've gone back
to their Impalas, but now it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then the mini trucker guys, it's cool to see because every time I see like a lot of those mini trucker guys, like the new train guys, I ask them, "Were you a mini trucker back?" Oh yeah, I was 15, and it's cool to hear like now they're building their cars.
Now it's expensive too. Now those trucks are they're not as expensive, but for $4,500 for a truck that needs an engine, I mean it's still.
But they're building them like they wanted to back then.
The money's there now.
Now
that we're older, we have the money to do a lot more things. When before we're like, $100 was $100. We're like, damn, we can't. There's no way I can buy anything, or build anything with a little bit of money we were making, $200-300 a week. It was tough. But right on, man. So thank you for coming out.
Really, it has to end.
It has to end, man. It's been a while. I think people got to go to sleep. Right now.
I feel like we left a lot unsaid.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's more to. I mean,
Yeah. No, for sure.
I don't think you're going anywhere.
Yeah. We'll get you back.
I'll get the other sleeping bag right here and stay with you.
Right. But thank you guys for listening. Give us a like. Check us out, Streetlow Magazine TV. Subscribe. Please have other people subscribe as well. Our car show, October 27th at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds. There's a $8,500 car hop that we're giving out.
8,500.
Yep. 1,000's from Chole. Chole's she's sponsoring the
12 and under.
12 and under switch hitter for kids.
And real quick, where can they see your photos at? Your social media, your IG?
I don't really post much, but Chucky's photos, Chucky's _photos. When I post stuff, there's stuff there. I mean, like I have a lot of different things that I'm into, so there's probably stuff that.
Or what's the other? Your fan.
My OnlyFans.
Your OnlyFans.
The one that he films for me.
Right. You guys are.
It's just of him developing pictures. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't get crazy.
He's wearing underwears though while he's doing it.
With my smock, but no calzones.
So Chucky's CHU.
Y _photos.
Okay.
Yeah, check him out, man.
Chucky _photos.
Like I said, I mean, you've been around me forever, man. All I do is think, I speak highly of you all the time. I see you and I talk to other people, man. You always been like a brother to me. Even though we haven't seen each other a lot, you're always going in and out with. We all have problems in life. We go through different things. We get married, we get divorced, we have kids. We have other kids, more kids, left kids, and not just with you. I'm talking about just general family, and I know that having a family and going through a lot of things, in life, you got to take care of your own,
Well, yeah, I appreciate that because that's how I feel about you.
Right.
I mean, you and I could talk on the phone.
Yeah,
we could talk for hours and be like, all right, we
be like comadres chismeando.
Yeah,
like, you see that? Oh my God! See what he was wearing? Oh my God!
It's just the way it is. It's like we could not talk for a long time, and it's like, like I feel the same way about you. We had a lot of good memories, and we didn't even get into like a dent of a lot of this stuff.
Right. I mean, you can't squeeze years into an hour. It's pretty tough. That's why we did a second one with Teleco and Malo, because it was kind of like there's just so much, and there's still a lot more. There's just
too much.
But if you really kind of want to see, get some older Streetlow magazines. You'll trip out on it. You'll really definitely trip out for the people out there that are just getting on our lifestyle or our movement. We've been around for 26 years. We haven't gone anywhere. We stick to our own. I don't compete with nobody. It's not about competition. The only person I compete with is myself. That's it. That's the only person I compete with. I try to make things better for all of us. I try to change things for the best. I'm not gonna go out there and tell you how to dress or tell you how to shoot or tell you how to film. I mean, everybody has their choice of doing whatever they want, and everybody will always do what they want anyway. So to me, it just I just want the best for our culture to continue to grow. Yeah. That's has always been in my heart. I want to make sure that when we leave this earth, our lifestyle continues, and these guys just keep building these cars and show what we can do, because there's a lot of bad motherfuckers out there.
Yeah,
a lot of bad motherfuckers.
And on that, like you're saying, culture. And I'm gonna probably, I don't know if I'm gonna be speaking for you. Yeah. It means this car culture, this lowrider movement, this culture, because this culture is a melting pot with, a lot of cars. Everybody puts it like, it's a raza thing, but we had a lot of different razas that made lowriding what it is today.
Even even Harley Davidsons, bro. Like the bikers, bro. We can't keep them out, because it's if you look at it, the movement has always been, we start off with little model cars and little monitos and stuff, and then we develop into building bikes for those that couldn't afford them, because a bike thing is still expensive, to get into building cars and bombs. And then when you get to that age, you're like, fuck, I'm just gonna buy a Harley. I'm gonna get rid of everybody. I don't want people to cruise with me no more.
Well, yeah. Well, the bike culture is a whole different, thing.
It is, but if you really look at it,
if you're building a bike like a lowrider, there we go. We're going into overtime here. But
right.
You build a bike into a lowrider, but the reality is the car culture dominates the bike culture. Let's be honest.
Oh no, it does. But what I'm trying to get at is that
what I mean in like the cruising and low riding, like a lot of guys got bikes and they got cars.
Of course.
But what I'm talking about, how we're saying the culture is the culture of all the different races that made this happen. You had the Filipinos, the blacks, a lot of different cultures made
Polynesians,
Samoans, everything. And I remember all that from the 90s. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then to see like clubs like the Others and just all the guys that came out of Seven Trees with lowriders back in the day. I used to like photographing a lot of when I could see them, because that was a whole different thing within this city.
Right.
There was cars in parts of the city that we didn't get to see out here that came out rarely, and it was cool to see stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, lowriding has always broken barriers toward different hoods, different gangs, different cities, and different states. Lowriding is like you said, it's a melting pot, but it has united a lot of people. And
it's a culture. I'm just trying to say, like, there's a lot of raza movement. You know what I'm trying to say. And
well, everyone came in and added their dynamic to lowriding. Like you're saying, all these other individuals, they came and they left their mark, and it just added to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when we have a potluck, right? I bring the chicken, you bring yourself. Everyone brings it all together, and we all eat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we have a big spread.
There's some out there that say, "Oh no, it's just ours," but it's everybody's. Everybody had their hand in this.
Well, it's like the trucks.
Whites, everybody, yeah.
It's like mini trucks, the big trucks, the VWs, all that's lowriding.
Yeah.
And that's what before we get off here. But one day I was with Sonny Madrid up in Fresno, and there was a truck like a Chevy Blazer, and it was laid out like on 30s, but it was on the ground, and it had these badass graphics on it, with pinstriping, gold leafing, and the interior was all nice. And I asked him, I go, what do you think that car is? Is that a lowrider, or is that a tuck-in truck, or what do you? That's a lowrider. To him, it was anything that was lowered on the ground was a lowrider. He goes, it doesn't matter what kind of wheels it had, or what, if that thing was laid on the ground, to him it was considered a lowrider. Because he goes, if that truck was back in the 60s and 70s, what do you think they would have called it? A truck? Tuck-in? No, it would have been considered a lowrider. And to me, it made sense, because lowriding is about being low. That's it, low and slow. That was the whole topic thing. But lowrider, the name lowrider came from being a person, not really even a car. Because it was, like I said, there was a magazine called Consafo that was created in the 60s that I saw from Sonny Madrid with my own eyes. I even have pictures of it. I think I talked about it the last time. And to me, that was like, wow, lowrider was a person. They go, oh, look at these lowriders. They're coming to our neighborhoods and creating, causing shit and this and that. But they're talking about lowrider, the guy that rode low. Pants low, T-shirt all long and low. That was that. But it changed where I don't know where it changed, where they went from the person to the car, But that's history. That's part of history that a lot of people don't know, but it's true facts, man.
That's what you say, right? So ride low, street low.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But
are we departing?
No, well, we have to. But go ahead if you have something to say, for sure.
I was gonna. I thought you wanted. We're just going all over.
We're going all over. No, I know.
It's cool because it's got to be conversation.
Right. There's a lot of things that we could talk about, and there's we could probably fill up a room with a hell of people in here, and
we could do like a whole Joe Rogan style podcast,
right?
So like 3 hours.
Right.
Because there's a lot that right now we said a lot that I feel like I didn't. I'm going to say it for the record here. Well, I didn't feel like we didn't finish talking about.
Right.
That because I don't want if anybody hears and they feel like offended or what do they mean? Like, there's a lot that didn't get talked about. If anybody sees me and they want to ask me a question, and I'll fill in the blanks, or maybe later on if I get to come back, we'll or someone could send you a question and then we could talk about that. But there's
like, what do you think that we left out, like something that you think that they're gonna tell you?
No, I don't think anybody's going to say anything, but for us, there's a lot that we talked about. We went all over the map because we went to the era of when you guys were doing it, and then our era was a whole different time.
It was building.
We started this out to talk about that, and it went into like, which it doesn't. It's okay because we talked about a lot of good topics, which was cool. Like but
our like I said, our era was the building of it. It was
it wasn't the glamorous life. I want to hear more of your stories.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Glamorous stuff. Him and George running around.
We'll get there.
But like ours wasn't so glamorous, but it was fun, man. Right, I want to really talk about the old school days. Those memories were awesome, and the people that were there that helped out a lot, because I give thanks to a lot of people. I mean, that were there, like, Robbie from the Impalas and the people that hung Jose Martinez, R.I.P. to him, for encouraging and like, Larry and Sonny and Paulie and all these people that were there that we were able to talk to and get inspiration, inspiration from and hear stories and stuff like that, and not only that, all the friends that were there that just hung out, guys that were in when I was in the club that, I called it the 90s crew, all those dudes that were in that era of that club, Joey, the
I haven't seen a lot of these
sisters,
guys.
Sabatino, the guys from East Bay, Doug, and there's so many names I could mention, Little Juan, like guys that were there that were just, they were the content, and a lot of other people from there that gave us the content. The guys from Frisco's Finest, everybody like in Watsonville, like I want to talk about all those people, like all these clubs, that were and individuals that they're not in magazines all big or not like that, but they were good people and
they built this industry. It wasn't just we were just photographers. We were just a magazine. What built this industry are these people. All these writers, everybody out there. They built this industry. This culture, this lifestyle. We all have our own stories. We all have a story.
There's guys out there like the guys from Classic Image that don't do car shows, that had bad cars, and that club has been strong since the 70s. Mark, he built some bad cars. Guys like that need to be talked about. And Oscar, look at all this stuff.
But they got to come out, man. Even though they don't go to shows, they have to come out. They got to come out, so they can't be selfish. I'm going to say that. They can't be selfish because they got to let other people see what they got going on.
Yeah, but they're not selfish because, like the old school guys say, it's on the streets.
Well, good. No, but they got to be on the street.
A lot of them are on the street still.
Okay, I'm going to see. I'm going to take your name for that. I'm going to take your arm for that. I got to see it. Part of these guys.
I'll send you some photos.
Okay, there you
Everybody,
go.
photobomb him, please.
Please photobomb me. I just been in and out of it for a long time. Since my pops passed away in 2016, it kind of like put me in a different world, a different view of what I was doing. I mean, it really threw me off because one thing my father had told me, he goes, take care of your family. Spend more time with them, take them out, do things with them because it's life is short. Once you're gone, you're gone. That's it. There's nothing you're gonna leave them but memories. So I took that kind of on and it kind of like sat back a little bit and during the time too, magazine was kind of like distribution died because they want to distribute your book, and for those that did want to, they were just ripping me off. They were trying to get I did it with one distributor. I gave them money and everything and my book sat. They weren't pushing them. They just wanted money to I was like, forget it. It's not going to happen no more.
And on that, like you said, too, I lost. There was a time where I lost my way, too.
Right. Well, it's life.
Different circumstances,
Yeah.
I lost my dad, and
right.
I took a different turn in my life.
Right.
And I'm just, sorry for all the things I did back then, you know.
Right,
But I'm grateful for today. And that's why I would like to share, you know, keep sharing and try to be kind to others, you know, and grateful for having my mother here, having my people like you that believe in me, like you telling me what you said, that really got me, you know.
Right on.
And having my wife to have my back, to be there.
You got to.
And she low rides, you know. And
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, she low rides, and she's always pushing me to, you know,
to go out there,
to speak, to say something. You know, I didn't want to really do this, but she's like, you should. I'm like, can you go and stand in the corner and act like I'm talking to you? But you know,
you're one of you're one of the veteranos now. You know, that's the word, veteran, man. We were the veterans of San Jose. We were giving San Jose light, you know, and now there's a lot of us running around, lots of us, and which is cool. Social media has changed a lot, but we were the ones, we didn't have that social media. We weren't running around for likes. We were running around because we were going to look good. We were doing it for everybody else. We wanted to make sure that San Jose looked good. We want to make sure that everybody in here looked good. You know, I wasn't always trying to put myself in front of a camera or trying to put myself in front of a picture. I always wanted to make sure that the picture we were taking was the one that was going to be in the magazine. I wanted to make sure that we all shined, and the people that was putting in work and that was out on the streets was in the magazine. And that's kind of like the difference of what's now. Right now, I know people fight for likes. Oh, you see how many likes I got? Oh, shit, you see how many views I got? I mean, if people want to view this and see that, it's cool. If they don't, guess what? It's going to be on forever, for life. And hopefully they'll see it one day. You know, I don't care if we get 1 million views right now or not. If we do that, that's cool. If we get 10 views, that's cool. At least 10 people saw it, and they could talk, and they could see the story that we're talking about. And we're talking about it. You're not hearing it from somebody else. You know, like,
this is our story.
It's our story, yeah. So if somebody,
our pieces of our lives and stuff like that.
If somebody sits there and goes, oh, you know, they did this, they did that. No. Yeah. Check out their first or second or, you know, third. You know, they're talking about how they started this magazine, because, I mean, it like I said, 26 years of doing this. It's a lot of work and a lot of putting on the side. I put my family on the side for a while because I had to give my other family light, which was the magazine. That was the other family I had, you know. But my main family, I was kind of like not focusing as much as I should have, which I'm focused on now, and I've been for a while, and I'll continue to, because that's what we are all about. Even Teleco took a left-right turn for a long time, you know.
Take a hiatus real quick, but
you know,
I'm still here.
Yeah, but loyalty.
And you're right about the family thing, because, you know, I was a young dad, and my mom, I'm grateful to have my mom and dad, because they helped me raise my daughter. Because remember, I was a young dad, remember?
Right.
I would bring my daughter around, but my mom and dad took care of her, you know, helped me take care of her.
Right.
And we were out doing stuff.
Right.
So I'm grateful, and I'm grateful that she loves this.
Right.
She loves this, you know, and she's in Vancouver, Washington. Janae, I love you, but she loves this stuff, you know, even though she's there and she says it's not the same. The low riding there isn't the same, but there's low riding out there too. You know what I mean?
It's just too much rain.
Yeah.
A lot of rain out there.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God.
you know,
It's like we're the recorders of history.
Yep.
Right. So it's like you have your vision, right, and what you saw, and you recorded it, and it's documented. You know, just like Gilbert, he was out there, recorded his. Like me, I recorded. We all have our own, and that's how we should see it. You know, instead of battling for likes, it's, you know, we're history documenters. You know, what are the future generations going to look at and see? They're going to see our images that we put out.
Real images.
I wish I would have did more and more
Well, next time,
people, you know what I mean? Of the people.
Right.
You know?
Well, I did. I shot a lot of people, man.
But, you know, it's never enough, is what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean?
No, there's not. But that was always my big thing, is we got to capture the people. We have to capture the people. We have to. I kept telling these guys, girls are going to be out there, but we got to capture the people. It's just, it was, to me, it was my first thing. I wanted to get the young as well, because they were the ones that are going to be our future. And I seen people like look at books going, oh my God, that's my son. He's a little kid. Look at him now, big old monster, you know, mustache, beard. I'm going, holy shit, from a little kid to a full blown man, you know. But they're grateful that these books were out for them as well. And this is history, like Lowrider Magazine, Sunny Madrid era. During that time, there's history in those books, because your brothers and sisters are in that, or one of your brothers and sisters' friends are in that.
You're right. Yeah,
they were in that magazine, and for a long time, I think during the '80s, it all went away because it moved. So that lifestyle of Sonny running around taking pictures of the people disappeared. It went to a different, kind of like how you said, it changed, and we kind of changed a little.
And we adapted.
Right. We adapted to what it was needed at the time, and that was the reason why I never really got sponsorship, because I didn't care for it, because I didn't want them to tell me how to run this book. Oh, you need to do it this way. You need to do it that way. You got to change this. You got to change that. I'm not changing nothing. This is what our people like.
But I also remember too, you try to do less advertisements, but that was hard. That's another thing. Like back then, it'd be like, oh, you look at it and it's how are you going to keep a magazine going? Advertisement.
Right.
You had to have the advertisement.
Right. Well, I mean, the advertisement I had were good people. They were the people that did it. They kept do what you got to do. Because I've heard other people say, oh man, I got this advertiser, but I have to do it this way, because if I don't, I'm going to lose them. And they're depending on that advertisement. I didn't want that to happen to me. I didn't want to be, I had times where I'm telling you, the magazine, the distributors were like tripping out on us. Yeah, I know. The distributors are tripping out on us.
I got to go to work.
Got to go to work.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I'm not talking to him.
Okay. All right, man. So you're going to have to cut that out. Because I got to go to work. No, but anyways, all right. So, yeah, but next time, we'll sit back, get you back in here, and,
we can continue. He could go to work. We can still go on.
Right.
I don't have to go to work till tomorrow. I could be here all night long talking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
One. Yeah.
Whatever you want to do,
The cameras run for a little bit.
But I understand, though.
Yeah,
Got to pay the bills. And we did go. We had this is the longest ending, because we keep going, because there's a lot that we could say.
Right.
And
No, this isn't the end. There's more. So let's, we can always come back.
Yeah. Right. Well, like I said,
I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I don't want to be a grosero, but it's like, when you go out with a girl, you gotta wine her and dine her a couple of times before you know.
And I feel bad because I cut you off right now, and I'm all like, hold on, because I had a thought in my head. Then I want to hear what you had to tell me, but don't ask the question yet. We'll save that for another. You remember it, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, because I want to hear it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, we're good. We're good.
Right on.
I catch myself doing that with my wife. I'll be like, oh.
It's like I was just saying, because he's like, oh, I'm shy, I don't want to talk. Now look at him.
I know.
You're not. I'm never leaving.
I don't want to leave here now. Right on, man.
I got the cot in the back. Don't worry.
Right on, man. But like I said again, thank you guys for coming. We're gonna continue this talk in a later date. We're gonna definitely get together and speak some more on lowriding. Maybe by that time we'll take some notes and figure out what we.
Maybe when you're editing, you could go, okay, we need to finish. Go back to that. There's a lot of, we said a lot of different content right there that could be talked about.
Right. No, for sure. But go ahead and subscribe to Streetlow TV.
Streetlow Magazine TV.
Streetlow Magazine TV. Subscribe to Streetlow Magazine TV. Please hit the like button, and also let people know that we're out. We're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to bring in different people in the industry that have been lowriding for years, because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we get documented as far as social media. I want to make sure that we get the people
that aren't on social media.
With who?
The ones that are not on social media.
Right, the ones that aren't on social media that actually are building these cars underground and doing their things.
Don't talk,
Right. We got to get them to talk, because they want to talk. It's just there's no really platform that they really want to talk on. So hopefully we are the platform for them to release themselves. Yeah. Come in all shy. And
I got a lot to say, boy.
Right. But right on, man. Thank you. And thank you guys for coming. And see you guys in the next one.